when a story has this as its default instead of something that you only have with a select few people, and two random strangers show up and they automatically start from there, like start from this point where they're in this world together on a very experiential level. They understand that the other person is a human who's just trying to be happy, and I'm like, I'll be happier if I'm with a happy person, and we're just gonna be happy together and like help each other out, like whatever. Just like not even like do anything significant. Just be like, hey, and then go from there. That's it. It's so simple. And to see this in a story when no other story does that, unless it's like supposed to become some kind of standout moment with like holy beings or something in this particular scene, and it's just like the norm for humans.
Love at first sight, or it's something else.
Yeah, it's like put on a pedestal of like this moment when it's just like people could just live that way, and some people do. It's like, and the story is just like that. Then it's like, and when you have stories like Kiki's that are like that in a lot of ways, like it's Kiki and goes up to the grandmas, or Kiki and the people at the bakery that
she shows up baking and they offer a place to stay, and it's just like
Kiki and her friends and her mom at the initial area, like that stuff. That's all there, but then you throw that other layer on of you have the cop problem shouting at her, but he was still a nice guy or whatever. She did make a mistake. It was just like it's unfortunate that he's telling her she needs a ticket, or I don't know what the scene was. It's just kind of silly. And that cop didn't need to be the one to do it. Somebody else would, if that world had like an awareness about it, would flag her down and be like, yo, don't fly into traffic. Like, people would shout at her to get out of the way of the bus before the bus showed up, or just, get on the ground or something. Like, there'd be some other way about it because people would be smarter. And in the same way, if that wasn't there, then you would have this purely, and people would be able to see, like, oh, that you could live another way. But because all that is there, then this still has that kind of put on a pedestal thing. Like, these relationships are of this kind, and then all this other stuff, like the little grumpy kid that makes fun of her grandma for no reason or whatever, is of, like, this other kind. And it's all this big mix of nonsense, just usual. It just happens to be leaning this way a bit more. Then it's so of this world of just, like, whatever.
Normalcy.
Normalcy, that it makes it feel like it's some kind of stand-out thing. And then you end up with that situation where the person experiencing the story, reading the story, watching the movie or whatever, can't have that moment where they're like, oh, internet exists on a plane. I can actually use internet on a plane. Instead, it turns into that moment. It's the moment the day before where the person's like has a conversation and argues with somebody else on how internet doesn't exist on planes because they don't believe it yet.